Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you a really abstract halftone effect you can put on any of your images. This kind of thing works better when you have a picture that has kind of a plain kind of background, I think. But feel free to experiment and, mess around with it. You will also want to download a couple of the vintage backgrounds that I've attached, so you have those to add. Alright, so let's do this. So we're going to open up an image that we're going to use. So I'm going to go File, Open, then I'm going to open up my image of Frank. The first thing we're going to do is convert it to a smart object. So I'm going to right click on the background right here and I'm going to do Convert to Smart Object. So now it has this little piece of paper thing right there and it's called Layer 0. Now we're going to desaturate this image. Instead of going to the adjustments over here, we're going to go up to the top and go to Image, Adjustments, and then Hue and Saturation. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the saturation down. We want to take some of the color out of it. So maybe put it around -50, -70. I'm going to do it there. And there's no magic number for this. You just want to take out some of the color. And you could always go back and readjust it. And then you can see our layer, our adjustment is right there. The next thing we're going to do is we want to adjust the shadows and the highlights. So I'm going to go back up to Image, go to Adjustments, and then we're going to go to Shadows and Highlights. Alright, so we want to brighten up the dark areas a little bit. And we want to increase the highlights. So now this also, it depends on your picture. So I'm just going to mess with this a little bit. And again, we can go back and adjust it if it doesn't look good later. So I'm going to kind of go maybe 15%. What I'm trying to do is get the detail back in the highlights. And this, again, is just going to vary. But you want to have some detail in your darks and your lights. So that's what we're doing. And so I'm leaving it here. So again, you adjust yours so you can still see some detail in the darks and the lights. Alright, so now that we've made a few adjustments, we're going to create that halftone dot layer. So I'm going to go down here to the plus. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to go over to my toolbar and I need to go to the paint bucket. So when you click the paint bucket, yours might be on the gradient tool. So just make sure you click it and you're going to go to the paint bucket. And then I'm going to click the black square. And then you want to find a mid-gray. So I'm just going to go here. So I just go to the side, mid-gray. Okay. Then I'm just going to click and this is just going to create an entire layer of gray. And I always like to go back and fix this so it goes back to the original black and white. So now that we have the gray, we're going to create the dots. So we're going to go up to the top. We're going to go to Filter. You're going to go to Filter Gallery. And then it should be under the Sketch. And you're going to pick Halftone Pattern. So right here. So on the halftone pattern, you want the size around 9. So you can make it bigger or smaller. Again, if you don't like it and you want them bigger or smaller, you can go back and fix this. So I'm going to make mine, I made mine 9 last time. I'm going to make it 11. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And then contrast, I would have it around the middle. Because you can see if you do it too much, it's really crisp. If you do it not enough, it's super blurry. So somewhere in the middle, like 28, 30. And then your pattern type needs to be dot. So I'm going to click OK. So now I have this little checkerboard, right? So what we need to do to make this appear with the layer below it is change our blend mode. So I'm going to go to the blend mode. And now I can play around with it. And then usually the hard mix will work. Sometimes the other ones will work. So mine is a little bit bright, you can see. I'm going to pick this one though for now. Like hard light, overlay. I kind of like the soft light. But let me do this and then I can show you. So if it's like super contrasty like that, you can go to the fill right here and then you can turn this down. Ooh, I see, I like that. So even though it's a little bit too contrasty at first, I kind of like that. And then I can also turn it down again. And then if I don't like it, I'm like, that's not really what I want. I can go back to any of these. I can go back to overlay, but I kind of want it to look, I want the dots to stand out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of where I want it. So again, a lot of this is just what you want. There's no right or wrong here. Okay. And then I can also, like if I don't like it but it's a little too much, you can turn down the opacity, so that's how see-through the layer is. So I might turn this down a little bit too. Okay. So again, you can always go back and play around with this till it looks the way you want. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a gradient map. So I'm going to add this like color layer to it. So I'm going to select my image layer. So make sure you're on your image layer. And then I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, Gradient Map. So gradient map is like a layer that it takes your image and just makes it into a color. And you can change, kind of like rainbow, you can change the colors of everything in your image. So this is obviously black and white. I mean, if you like black and white, you leave it like that. And then I'm going to click in here, and there's all sorts of options. And you can change it, and you can make them exactly what you want to. And then what I'm going to have to do on some of them is flip the colors. So the darks are in the darks, and the lights are in the lights. So play around with it. There's greens. If you use Photoshop a lot, you can like save your own. But you can also just change it. I'm going to use that one. You can also double click on it in the editor. And I can name this. I can name this Frank Purple. Sure. And I can change things around. So I can double click this and change the color. Like maybe I want it darker. You can get rid of some of them. So I did Control Z because I don't want to get rid of it. And actually I'm going to flip this. So I'm going to make the lights over here and the darks over here. So you can see I'm just pulling them around. I mean, and this is just play. So maybe I want this to be, oh, I like that. I like that. I like that. I love this color combination. I love like blue violet with that yellow orange. Those are complements. And then maybe I'm going to double click. I want even a little bit more. Nah, I don't like that. So I'm going to cancel. And again, like my other videos, I can do this forever because I like to play. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I like that. So I'm going to do OK. And actually, I might fiddle with that a little bit later. Okay, so now I'm going to double click right here. This is like the blending icon. And you can zoom out. And what you can do is lower the opacity so it will interact with the original. So if you like it, like in that gradient, leave it. And so that's the original. I kind of like it. A little more abstract, honestly. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, so now I can go back and refine those shadows and highlights that I did at the beginning. And then okay. And then it won't show you like with that layer, but I can play around with it and then go okay. So does that look better? Does it look worse? So I kind of like it. I'm just going to leave it like that. And now I'm going to add those textures that are on top. And then I'll also show you how to distort the grid. So to add the textures, I'm going to go File, Place Embedded, and this, you should have those textures downloaded. So I'm going to do the number 1 first. And I'm going to make sure it fits. So I'm just going to drag it so it fits. Press Enter. And now I'm going to change the blend mode of the layers. Remember, this is your blend mode. It's how it interacts with everything below it. And I'm going to put it on screen. And then I'm going to change the opacity. Actually, I'm going to switch this. The next one's screen. My bad. Oh, so like you can see, like there's lots of cool ones here. So overlay, soft light, hard light. So you can see every layer I add, I'm like changing the way it looks. I'm going to do soft light, I guess. And then I can also lower that opacity. I can play around with the fill. And then I'm going to do the other one too. So now I'm going to put another layer. So I'm going to go File, Place Embedded. I'm going to do the Vintage 2. Same thing. And I'm going to try to make it fit. It has those little edges on it. If you press Shift, you can stretch it. And press Enter, and now I'm also going to change the blend mode. This one I'm going to do screen, so it kind of has that little look. And then I'm going to go back to there. Alright, so I'm like, maybe I want to adjust things. My gradient map, maybe I want to go back and like change my opacity a little bit more, a little bit less. Maybe I want to go back here with my shadows or my hue saturation and fiddle with it. So you just need to click on that, and then if that shows up, just go OK. So maybe I want to lighten that a little bit. So these are just little tweaks. Oh, I like that better. So do those little tweaks till it kind of gets the way you want. I can even, let's play around. Maybe I want to add more saturation back. So Control Z, didn't really make a difference. And then finally, what you can do, now you have this, you can go to your layer, which has the filter on it. And if you go to Filter, Distort, you can change it. So you can change the way those dots look. So you can do a twirl. And then you could like change the direction. So let's do that. Ooh, kind of like that. So I'm going to do, remember, Control Z, undo. Go back, Filter, Distort. There's Spherize. Ooh. No. Okay. Not as much. But you can like play around with that too. What did I do? Let's do zigzag. See what that does. Then you can like make it super zigzaggy. Not much. I do like the little twirly one. And the ripple. So, so there's another way you could do it. Like, so there's like so many different combinations that you could do. I'm going to go back to the twirl. I like the twirl. Ta-da! And then once you are done playing, I want you to save it as a JPEG. If you are not done by the end of class, remember you need to save it as a Photoshop document so you can work on it next class. So if you're still playing, go File, Save As. I know, I'm not trying to save you as a JPEG. And then it should go to your Downloads folder and then put it in your cloud. If the Photoshop menu pops up, just put Save to your computer. Then make sure it goes in your cloud, name it. If you are done, I'm going to right click. I'm going to flatten the image so it's all one layer. I'm going to go File, Export As, and then have my JPEG. I always like to have my stuff on high. Export. I'm going to call it Frank 2. And then remember, put it in your cloud or wherever you save your photographs. All right. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this because there's so many options. Good job.